The Detroit Lions finished the 2021 regular season with a 3-13-1 record, and for most teams, that would be a pretty bad season, and they could potentially dwell on that and not be a good team for several years. And based on the Lions' team history, they're normally, and the keyword there being normally, would not be too much to look forward to. However, 2022 is different. Dan Campbell is different. This team's demeanor and attitude are a hell of a lot different from what we've seen in years past, and in today's video, we are going to break down the 2022 Detroit Lions and peek a little bit into their future as well, and with that being said, let's begin. And when taking a look at the 2022 Detroit Lions and why there is so much to believe in, we have to go back to last year and examine not just one or two, but several games as to why there is so much to look forward to and why there is a lot to believe in, not just for 2022, but for the next few years down the road as well. And it started in week 1 against the San Francisco 49ers when they lost at home with a score of 41-33. The final score is an 8-point loss for Detroit, and you probably would have, understandably, thought the 49ers were going to beat the Lions heading into that game. Remember, heading into 2021, the Lions' best receivers were Khalif Raymond and Quintez Cephus. This was after they lost Kenny Golladay in free agency. Amon-Ra St. Brown, as a 4th-round rookie in Week 1, was not the player we now know him as. And we will eventually get to Amon-Ra, but for now, the Lions were heavily outmatched in Week 1. The 49ers, as we know, eventually went to the NFC Championship game and nearly went to their second Super Bowl in 3 seasons. And the Lions, not surprisingly, fell behind early in this game, as you could very much go across the board and go position by position, and the 49ers outranked them in a lot of areas. What was different, though, was when this team was down 38-10 midway through the third quarter, and in the first game of a new head coach's tenure, they could have essentially said, the hell with this, Dan Campbell and his biting kneecaps mentality are a shtick and he's full of shit and we're done. We're the same old Lions. However, they scored 23 of the remaining 26 points and were an onside kick away with a minute left from getting the ball back to go down and tie the game. And what I can't emphasize enough is this was against a team who came within a few plays of going to the Super Bowl. Lions fans, I'm now going to bring back a bad memory here, but in another head coach's first career game back in 2018, which for those that may not remember was Matt Patricia, played the Jets and Sam Darnold in his NFL debut on Monday night in front of the nation. Darnold's first pass, in what was a sign of things to come for Sam, threw a pick six to Quandre Diggs, and the Lions were up 7-0 in the first 20 seconds of the ballgame. At that point, the belief was something along the lines of, let's go, we have a former Patriots coach who coached under Bill Belichick and will finally get us over the hump and lead us to success. Well, the Jets would go on to outscore the Lions 48-10 the rest of the game, and the Lions lost by 31 points with a final score of 48-17. Detroit then played Aaron Rodgers and the Packers the next week and understandably lost by a lot on the road, but the next game was against the Baltimore Ravens, which by the way we're now in week 3, who they nearly beat for the first win in the Dan Campbell era. And before the Ravens had nearly half of their roster on injured reserve, which isn't an exaggeration by the way, they were an 8-3 team on the brink of making the playoffs, and this was also a team that smoked the Los Angeles Chargers by 4 touchdowns with a final score of 34-6. It took everything they had, and unfortunately, in Detroit fashion, they lost on an NFL record game-winning 66-yard field goal by Justin Tucker. One of the biggest takeaways from the first 3 games, though, was Detroit was competing with Dan Campbell against great teams, and we can say what it is now. The 2021 Lions and the 2021 49ers, from a talent standpoint, were not close. The 49ers were a much better team, yet the Lions pushed them just about as far as they could go. In Week 5 against the Minnesota Vikings, the Lions forced a turnover late and were up with 37 seconds left over the Minnesota Vikings in their stadium. It took a game-winning drive by Kirk Cousins to put them in field goal range, and then a 54-yard game-winning field goal for the Vikings just to beat the Lions. As we know, the next time these teams played, Detroit beat Minnesota for their first win of the 2021 season. And for anyone thinking that I'm cherry picking games and not bringing up games where the Lions got beat by multiple scores, like the Eagles game where they lost 44-6 at home, or the Broncos game in which they were beat 38-10 on the road, one thing that has to be remembered about the 2021 Lions is they were, and for that matter, still are rebuilding. They were, for what it's worth, a damn good 3-win team and had 6 one-score losses, with 3 of those coming from game-winning field goals by the other team. And within this, they also had Tim Boyle start a few games for them, including a 13-10 loss to Cleveland and a 20-16 loss to the Atlanta Falcons. Think what you want about Jared Goff, whether he is good, bad, average, or whatever the case may be, but it's truly not unreasonable to say the Lions win both of those games with Goff starting in place of Boyle, which then would have pushed their win total to 5 on the season. And in the offseason, this team improved in a lot of areas. They, of course, added Michigan pass rusher Aiden Hutchinson with the number 2 overall pick in the draft, and the Jags taking Trayvon Walker number 1 overall couldn't have played out any better for the Lions. They also added the speedster from Alabama in Jamison Williams, and with the pick in the second round added Josh Pascal from Kentucky. They had a hell of a draft and even added a few decent veterans in free agency as well, most notably being receiver DJ Chark and safety Deshaun Elliott. The key thing to remember here for Detroit is they're not going to be a 13 or 14 win team this year. Nobody is predicting that. But what they will be is a tough, nasty team no one wants to play, and that starts with the leadership on down from head coach Dan Campbell. There's always a cliche of how teams look getting off of the bus entering the stadium and how nasty they look, and you immediately think of a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, who have Jordan Davis at 6'6", 340, and Jordan Mailata, who is 6'8", 345, but does Nick Sirianni scare anybody? And the answer to that is absolutely not. Dan Campbell is 6'5", every bit of 260, and in his words, does not care if you have 1 ass cheek and 3 toes, he will beat your ass, and that is referencing Hard Knocks for anyone who may not be aware. And Detroit will gradually wear teams down with grit and with running the football behind the likes of Taylor Decker, Jonah Jackson, Frank Ragnow, Big V at right guard, and Penei Sewell. The Lions' offensive line is one of the best in the NFL, and for what Jared Goff may lack in being a truly great or elite quarterback, the offensive line and improved receiving core will only help him out and get the most out of him that they can. The Lions also need Deandre Swift to stay healthy, as he has started just 8 games over his first 2 years, with 4 in each season. He only had 1 game in all of 2021 with more than 15 carries, and it was in a tie to the Pittsburgh Steelers, in which he had an egregious 33 carries. Even though he had 62 receptions last year, there were 5 games he played in out of 13 total where Swift had less than 15 touches, and when DeAndre is healthy, he is a very good back, and there's a reason people are very optimistic regarding him in the upcoming 2022 season. What will benefit not only Swift but everyone else in the offense is truly how many weapons there are. TJ Hawkinson is coming off of back-to-back 60-plus catch seasons, including a Pro Bowl in 2020, and is not an elite top 2 or 3 tight end in the NFL, but he is a solid contributor and is a very key member of the Lions offense. The Lions have a great second-year receiver in Amon-Ra St. Brown, who had a 90-catch, 900-yard rookie season, which kind of went under the radar because of a generational rookie season another receiver had down in Cincinnati. But what Lions fans are most excited about in 2022 for Amon-Ra is from weeks 13 to 18, or the final 6 games of the 2021 regular season, Amon had no less than 8 receptions in any game and had 51 receptions for 560 yards and 5 touchdowns during this span, which translating to a full 17-game season would have him on pace for a 144 catch, 1,587 yard and 14 touchdown year. Now, Lions fans are understandably excited for his future, but to be a little realistic, I don't think he's going to have that good of a second season. Not to say you can't get excited, but that would be absolutely insane for an entire year. Then you throw in Jameson Williams and DJ Chark, and when you line everyone up and have 4 receivers and a tight end on the field, as a defense, how do you prioritize stopping Amon-Ra St. Brown, DJ Chark, Jameson Williams, Josh Reynolds, TJ Hawkinson, and Deandre Swift out of the backfield? As if this isn't enough to stress a defense out, this kind of revolves full circle to Dan Campbell's mentality. If he didn't think those guys were willing to block, they wouldn't play for him. And when you have 9 guys not only willing to block for Deandre Swift, not 10 because Jared Goff doesn't really block, but wanting to block, it's going to be a long day for any defense against the 2022 Detroit Lions. And that's all I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, I ask you to please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, as it would not only mean the world, but help immensely with the YouTube algorithm. Also, please join the Discord, the link is in the bio, and until next time, please be safe, and have a great day. Love you guys.